Okay, and okay. So, welcome back. This will be all about preparing to teach baby yoga. So, the anatomy and physiology, and a little bit of what is yoga. So, we've already discussed how we're feeling. um, did you feel like you integrated what we talked about yesterday a little bit? Sometimes it feels a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, a little bit overwhelming, but it actually gave me a lot of motivation. Like I'm really, excited
Yeah,
to even just start the awareness of it because it is,
yeah.
no one really talks about it.
No, as long as you feel
Mm,
inspired, then you can just, start
yeah,
slowly. Yeah. And the more you read and the more you put yourself out there and spread what you do, it will just start to organically flow.
mm,
Mm. Okay, so yeah, 10 to 12, baby sensory development and integration, and what is yoga? That's what we'll do this morning. And then the yoga routine. So we'll come back in our yoga gear.
mm-hmm.
Just pants you could stretch in basically,
Yeah, yeah.
and fly a doll on your knees. And then
Mm-hmm.
are you able to come back in the evening?
Yeah, yeah. I'll just do it from home. Yeah,
All right.
I'll just put the
Okay.
AirPods in at home. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So we'll talk a bit more about marketing and setting up the business.
Mm-hmm.
So recommended reading for baby
How
yoga
funny. I was
one.
literally just about to ask this question. Any recommended extra reading and stuff? Cool. Oh, your sound stopped, Mel.
There we are. I'm back. Hello. Oh, I see a baby. If you're able to get to an actual yoga class, that's really good.
Yep.
Have you been to any yoga class?
No, I never have. I'll definitely have to now.
Even do one online. Like I often refer people to Adrian's yoga, her really nice, simple, easy yoga online. So you can just feel what it's like to be in a yoga class because we bring elements of the breathing and the relaxation and the stretching for our mums. So even though you're not training to be a yoga teacher, you're still bringing in that flavor of yoga. So it's good to
Yep.
experience it.
I'm just going to take a
Um,
picture of that so I can. I know
yeah.
I'll be able to watch it later, but I just wanted to.
Mm. I'll send you the link to the online classes that are nice to do. They're free, just in
Yeah.
case you can't get to a local yoga center, or you don't want to go along to one that's like Ashtanga or really, really advanced and then
Mm,
into yourself. If you can find a basic beginner's class somewhere, just to
okay.
get that, feel for how you would introduce the poses to mothers. It's just a few, we don't do a lot.
Yep.
And then the baby yoga is more sensory play. Babies aren't like standing in poses. So any of these basic books are good. And um, the one at the bottom is a business book, the Seed Handbook, Lynn Frank's. It's good to get some information around babies' developmental stages as well. So this Gentle Years one is good, by Dr. Gary Motha. And then Sally Goddard Blythe has a nice one there too. Yeah. So if you can get hold of any of those or on Kindle, just start with a couple, maybe one yoga one and one developmental one, and try and do at least one beginner's class online just to experience it.
Yep.
Okay. So some of this is a little bit of a revision of baby massage anatomy and physiology. So, but it's good to go over it again. So we look at how yoga stretches now instead of the massage help to develop the baby's different systems. So yoga stretches are helping to move the lymph around the body. drainage, and also you do a bit of dry massage in the baby yoga as well, so you're getting that same effect of boosting the circulation, strengthening the immune system. And then again, if the baby's sick, like with baby massage, you don't want to be really active with them. You want to just avoid any pain and discomfort. So if a mum comes with a sick baby, it's probably not, the baby should not be there. So just let them know before they come to the classes that if the baby's got any fever or illness, not to bring them along. And yeah, it helps with postural control. So now we're helping the baby develop all their muscular movements, and from head to toe. When they're born, they don't have all of the muscles developed. And with massage, we're helping to strengthen mostly. Do you remember which type of muscle we're helping to strengthen the most, or
I haven't done that part yet. I haven't watched your Friday night
oh,
yet.
okay.
Yeah.
So there are skeletal muscles. So you see the picture of the arm muscle. So you've got the bicep and the tricep and the muscles that move the arm. So we're working more on those. We don't press on the cardiac muscle, although the muscle will be worked just by the movement of the body and the blood moving through. And the only time we'd work on the smooth muscle, you can see a picture of smooth muscle there. So it's things like the stomach and intestines. So we do actually do a bit of massage on the intestines indirectly when we do the tummy massage, but it's mainly the cardiac muscle. I'm sorry, the skeletal muscle.
Skeletal, yep.
Yeah. Which the babies need to learn how to be able to sit themselves up and hold their neck up. So we're helping by the dry massage and the yoga to build strength in these muscles. Yes, we already answered that question. Okay. It also helps to provide coordination. So whenever we're bringing the baby's arms and legs together and helping the left and right brain connect, we're helping them form all those connections they need for coordination. And the postures against gravity also help with this. So sometimes we'll be lifting the babies up, putting them on our legs, getting a little inversion, or letting the babies go to and fro in a rocking motion. So it works on some other systems, but it also helps to strengthen the muscles and coordination. And it's also about helping all the bones and vertebra come into place, so helping to realign the spine. And as we talked about before, normally babies are born with a C curve in their spine, and we're helping to straighten it out, get more of an S curve in their spine so they can crawl and walk. And again, just a reminder, when you're massaging, doing the dry massage or stretching a baby, don't overstretch any of the muscles or joints. Always be smooth and gentle. Okay, so here's the spine. You can see in the fetus, it's like a C curve. And then the newborn starts to get a little bit more movement, and eventually that S curve comes into the spine so that they can properly walk around. So some people have more of a pronounced curve, develop scoliosis. Have you heard of that? Yeah. So you want just that normal curve. And yoga definitely helps with that. Whenever a baby rolls over or starts to crawl in my class, I'm like, there you go, the yoga worked. Of course they do it by themselves as well. It just gives them that added boost and extra support. And maybe it helps them do it a little bit earlier for some babies, as opposed to if you just kept a baby lying on its back all the time, they might take a bit longer to develop the skills. But often in a class, it's really normal. They start to roll, and it's exciting when the first one crawls. So yoga helps to align the spine, encourage active extension. So that's like extension is when you open the joints, and flexion is when you bring them back together. So we do lots of those movements, extension and flexion with our arms and legs. And also the movements helping the blood and waste products move around the body. So you're helping with that whole flow. And we're increasing their breathing, because when you're active, you're going to breathe more. So we're helping to open the lungs. And also for the parents, when they do their movements, they're also breathing a lot more deeply. Precautions again, we went through those before. Basically, don't put any pressure on the bones and be very gentle. So the digestive system, again, the yoga helps with the wind and the colic. It gives a little bit of an extra boost. When we do the massage, that's just using our hand on the baby. When we add their own body movements to it, it adds that extra level of support to try and get things moving. Just a precaution again, if they have any hernias, you don't want to press on them. I want to avoid that area. And yeah, don't put any direct pressure on the belly button, and always go in the clockwise direction or downward, because that's where the exit is. So you're not going to harm the baby by going the opposite way. If any parent does that, don't say they haven't harmed the baby. They're just not encouraging everything to move out. Okay. And avoid side strokes. Remember, we went out to the side with our thumbs. So if they've got a hernia around the umbilicus, you don't want to be stretching that area. So I would just avoid the tummy if they've got any hernia. Okay, so respiratory system. This is, how we get air into our lungs and then pump the oxygen around the body. So it comes in through the nose and the mouth, down the airway, the trachea, and then into the two sides of the lungs. And we have the pulmonary arteries, which receive the blood from the heart and oxygenate it and then send it back out to the body. So breathing during yoga poses, even though we're not saying to the baby, breathe in, breathe out, they're not going to do that. They'll just do it automatically with the increased movement. But with the parents, we're really focused on getting them to do the big belly breaths into their stomach so that they can get the benefit of that relaxation that occurs when you do that nice deep belly breath. We also help to expel carbon dioxide, so the waste products. So if you're not breathing fully into your lungs, A, you're not getting enough oxygen in, and B, you're not expelling waste products. And also when you do that deep belly breath, you stimulate the vagus nerve and the rest and digest relaxation for the whole body. So it helps with digestion as well as decreasing the whole stress levels of the body, which mums need. So here's the nervous system I was talking about. So if you see on the left of the screen is the parasympathetic nervous system. Have you heard about that?
Not too much, no.
Yeah, they should teach this in schools, really, primary school. So when you're in your parasympathetic nervous system, this is when you're able to really relax. And when you're in your sympathetic, this is when you get that burst of adrenaline and you're ready to either run away, fight something, or some people freeze. So it's when you're in that heightened alert state. So often just in a stressful life as a mum we spend a lot of time in our sympathetic nervous system. So we have everything constricting, so we might be able to digest our food properly. Everything kind of tightens up and stops, and blood is pumped to the extremities, ready to fight the tiger. So if you're constantly in that aroused nervous state, you're not able to drop down into what the body needs to digest food and to put all the healing hormones around the body. So have you ever heard of like adrenaline fatigue, or people that are just constantly anxious? They often spend a lot of time in their sympathetic nervous system, which is meant to come on when we need it and then calm down. But a lot of people just stay up there. And a lot of babies can stay in that heightened sympathetic nervous system if they're left to kind of fend for themselves a lot and not have their needs met. Yeah, so rest and digest is what we're aiming for, parasympathetic nervous system. And they're the two sides of the autonomic nervous system. So there's lots of videos on that. If you go into the module online, you can watch really good videos which explain it further. And if you learn by listening, it's a great way to learn. I love the videos.
Mm.
Yeah. So here we have, just more about that. Yoga and massage have a soothing effect on the nervous system and support responses of the parasympathetic nervous system. And then the body is more able to do all the things it needs for growth and development. And also, yoga and massage encourages respectful relationships. So the parents are learning again to respond to the baby's needs, and the baby's learning to trust mum when she puts him up on her knees. Mother's responding to cues. If the baby doesn't like it there and is scared, mum brings baby back down for a cuddle. So it's all that communication and trust is being built as well, which is helping to wire the brain in other areas, like knowing that the world's a safe place. Okay. The endocrine system, this is basically talking about hormones that move around the body. So the main hormone that we love at Blossom and Berry is oxytocin, the love hormone. So this is the bonding hormone, the love hormone, the one that's essential for breastfeeding, the one that is essential for happiness and well-being that you get when you touch, cuddle, hug, make love, give birth. So only carry out the yoga when the baby is actually wanting it. Otherwise, this hormone's not going to flow. And again, just reiterating that listening to the baby and responding to their cues and their nonverbal cues is the most important thing. So if you see a baby freaking out in a yoga pose, you might just do a reminder to the parents, how is your baby enjoying it? Do they look happy? Remember that you don't want to do something if the baby's not enjoying it and they're fearful. Okay. Oh, that was quick. Stretch and break. We'll keep going. Do you have any questions so far?
No.
Yeah. So I'm just whizzing through it. So there's heaps of resources online for you to look at. Normally I'd play videos, but because I know you have a small bub and a little child to get back to, I'll let you watch the videos in your own time.
Yeah, cool.
So this is one of the systems we work on now. So do you know what that's a picture of?
I can see the ear.
Yeah, it's the ear and like the inner ear. And we're going to look at the vestibular system. I always love that little purple squiggle in the middle. That's looks like a snail, the cochlea. That's about the only thing I always remember until I refresh myself. So inside our ear is this little mechanism that helps us with our balance. It's called the vestibular system. if I clicked on this, it would go to a video. Shall we just see if it works? Oh, magic. Can you see that screen pop up?
No.
No. Oh, let me just go to stop share. I'll just play a little bit about this.
Yeah.
Just as an example of the videos you can find. Okay. Where did it go? Oh, maybe it's this one. Oh, now I don't know how to get it. Maybe we'll play it later. Anyway, here it is. There are videos that are really good to watch because then you just get to hear someone else talking, not me. Can you see that?
Yeah.
See if it works.
The vestibular system is a sensory
Can you
system
hear it?
responsible for providing our brain with information about motion, head position, and spatial orientation. It is also involved with motor functions that allow us to keep our balance, stabilize our head and body during movement, and maintain posture. The main components of the vestibular system are found in the inner ear in a system of compartments called the vestibular labyrinth, which is continuous with the cochlea. The vestibular labyrinth contains the semicircular canals, which are 3 tubes that are each situated in a plane in which the head can rotate. Each of the canals can detect one of the following head movements: nodding up and down, shaking side to side, or tilting left and right. The semicircular canals are filled with a fluid called endolymph. When the head is rotated, it causes the movement of endolymph through the canal that corresponds to the plane of movement. The endolymph flows into an expansion of the canal called the ampulla, within which there are hair cells, the sensory receptors of the vestibular system. At the top of each hair cell is a collection of small hairs called stereocilia. The movement of the endolymph causes movement of these stereocilia, which leads to the release of neurotransmitters to send information about the plane of movement to the brain. The vestibular system uses 2 other organs, known as the otolith organs, to detect forward and backward movements and gravitational forces. There are 2 otolith organs in the vestibular labyrinth: the utricle, which detects movements in the horizontal plane, and the saccule, which detects movements in the vertical plane. Within the utricle and saccule, hair cells detect movement when crystals of calcium carbonate called otoconia shift in response to it, leading to movement in the layers below the otoconia and displacement of hair cells.
When somebody sends something in on another platform, we download it and upload it to our review and make a review page
for it. That's a lot of my job, is watching cuts and giving them.
Skip ad, goodbye. Okay. So let's find you again. There. You back? Yeah, so that's just an example. That was a bit of a fast-paced talking one.
Yeah.
But just showing you that the different movements of the head with the baby all around. So when we're moving them around in baby yoga, are helping develop that system. So they need to move. Like in a lot of cultures, they wear the babies all day and they get this normal movement. But in the West, we tend to just put them in prams or, still places. So yoga can really help develop this whole system a lot. So basically,
Very interesting.
It is interesting, yeah. If you love all this stuff, there's a lot more information to learn. And sometimes parents, when you're talking about spreading, can you see that one?
Yep.
Yeah. When you're trying to spread awareness, if you just introduce some of the reasons why we do the poses when you're before you advertise your classes, then they understand. Like Emma was saying, they all understand messy play is important, but not a lot of people out there understand why we would want to do yoga with our babies. So it's just good to educate yourself a little bit so that you can then share that information and show them that it's based in science, not just airy-fairy hippie stuff. So, yeah, we just looked at all of that. The proprioceptive system is knowing where your body is in space. A lot of children with special needs, this hasn't developed so strongly, so they'll be, to reaffirm where everything is, they'll be touching walls and bouncing off things and chewing on things and spinning themselves around. they're trying to give the body feedback for the proprioceptive system. So there's a video online you can watch about that, which is really interesting too. So basically in our muscles and joints, there's little tiny receptors and they send information back to the brain. And some babies, this is still immature, hasn't been developed enough. So by putting pressure and movement on the receptors, you're developing that connection between where is my hand in space. So a baby, you know, they see them, they discover their hands for the first time. Then they realize they can grab things and, oh, my feet are over here. This is all developing their proprioceptive system. Let me just so the brain needs the vestibular system, so the inner ear, and the proprioceptive system to be able to move with coordination. So if one of these systems is out, people struggle with finding their way around space, bumping into things. Some kids, you'll see them bouncing on their chairs, rocking on their chairs in school and then like falling off, especially the little boys. They're still trying to develop their proprioceptive system. And the teacher's like, sit still, stop doing that. But what the kid's doing is trying to give themselves feedback to concentrate. So once you understand it, you realize kids aren't just being naughty, they're just trying to get the feedback the body's craving. It's like those fidget things and sitting on balls and all of that the OTs bring in to help these children. So we help by elongation, so that's lengthening the muscles, and then compression, like squeezing the muscles, and then traction, putting like a little bit of gentle force on the muscles. So when we do, for example, you know, the movements where we're bringing arms and legs together and opening, we're doing all of these movements. Yeah. It's one of my dads that came to one of the classes. Yes. Yeah. Have you ever heard of those, like some kids need like weighted blankets and they're craving that pressure, they can't relax. A lot of children with ADHD or different sensory issues need weighted blankets. So this is that pressure that they're craving to help regulate them. So we give that to our children when we hug them and help to calm their nervous system down that way. Yeah. So being held for hugs and playing and being massaged is giving all of this feedback to develop that healthy proprioception. So there's a finger to nose exercise. Do you want to try it to help explain it a bit better? Okay, so I'll read it, you do it. So close your eyes, raise both hands above your head. Yep. Now keep the fingers of your left hand totally still, no wiggling. With your right hand, quickly touch your index fingertip, so your pointer finger, to your nose, and then quickly touch the tip of your thumb of your left hand with that same finger. So touch your nose and then touch the thumb of your left hand. So you touch your nose and you can't look. No. Close your eyes, touch your nose and touch your thumb. Yeah, see how it's a bit tricky?
Yeah, you can't get it.
Now switch hands, close your eyes again. So with your pointer finger of your left hand, touch your nose and now touch your right thumb. And then have another practice. Touch your nose, try and do it quickly, and then touch your right thumb. Okay, now this time try again, but I want you to wiggle the fingers of your left hand. So wiggle the fingers of your left hand. Now with your right pointer finger, touch your nose. Right hand, touch your nose. And now touch your wiggling left thumb. And practice again. Yep. Yeah. Did you find any difference?
When I was wiggling my hands, I was closer. I
Yeah.
went
Yeah.
to it closer. Where the first time I completely missed
I
it.
know. It's like, hello, where is that? Where?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sort of explains that, when we're helping babies feel all their fingers and we're doing all those little exercises, we're helping them draw that connection. And then when we take their opposite hand and touch the other hand together, we're helping them form that pathway in their brain. So they're not uncoordinated. Yeah, but the more you do that, if you keep practicing it, you'll get faster and quicker as well, which is really interesting. Yeah. This is showing you how the senses are kind of in comparison, like tasting and smelling and seeing is actually, this is a confusing picture. Let me just see what it says. Yes, the somatosensory system. So it's basically integrating all the systems together. So drawing in all the senses to help you express yourself in the world. Let me just quickly click on this video because I'm crap at explaining the somatosensory sensory system. So let me just go to share this one just for a quick look. Okay, this is this one here. Can you see that now coming up on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to 2 Minute Neuroscience,
Oh,
where I
same
simplistically
guy.
explain neuroscience topics in 2 minutes or less. In this installment, I will discuss the primary somatosensory cortex. The primary somatosensory cortex is located in a ridge of cortex called the postcentral gyrus. It is situated just posterior to the central sulcus, a prominent fissure that runs down the side of the cerebral cortex. The primary somatosensory cortex is responsible for processing somatic sensations, or sensations from the body that include touch, proprioception, or the position of the body in space, nociception, or pain, and temperature. When receptors detect one of these sensations, the information is sent to the thalamus and then to the primary somatosensory cortex. The primary somatosensory cortex is typically divided into 4 areas: Area 3A, 3B, 1, and 2. Area 3 receives the majority of somatosensory input directly from the thalamus, and the initial processing of information occurs here. Area 3B is primarily concerned with basic processing of touch sensations, while Area 3A responds to information from proprioceptors. Area 3B is densely connected to Areas 1 and 2, and when Area 3B receives touch information, that information is then sent to Areas 1 and 2 for more complex processing. Area 2 is also involved with proprioception. Each of the 4 areas of the primary somatosensory cortex is arranged such that a particular location in that area receives information from a particular part of the body. This arrangement is referred to as somatotopic, and the full body is represented in this way in each of the 4 regions of the somatosensory cortex. More sensitive areas of the body take up a disproportionate amount of space in this somatotopic arrangement.
Something that was once done only by men
Right.
could be the key.
So let me stop sharing that. So if you want to learn more, there is better videos than that one. But that just tells you how all the senses feed information into the body. And so baby yoga is helping develop that. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. Okay. So via touch, proprioception, pain, temperature, all gives the body information. Hopefully not through pain in yoga, but definitely through pressure and sensation. We're helping the babies develop their somatosensory system. And sensory integration. So basically we're helping all of their senses develop so that the brain, so the neurological process of the brain, is able to receive information and then understand it. So if there's any issues with that, then you have all the learning disorders and sensory processing disorders that a lot of the children these days are growing up with. So really it is giving the babies a head start by stimulating all of these processes and helping to develop them. So OT is a field that looks at this. Kylie Budd in our Blossom and Berry teaching team has a lot of extra master classes on this because this is her field of expertise. So if you're wanting to explore that more or how to work with babies with special needs, you can tune into any of her massage classes or do some of her short courses. Have you heard of Kylie?
No, not yet.
Yeah, she's amazing. So she's based in the UK and has her own business all about play and tummy time, but also does things for Blossom and Berry. A lot of it is free and already online. So once you join the Facebook group, you'll find her advertising her masterclasses there, and also on the actual website there's information from her. Okay, so now yoga. So it's more my area of expertise than the OT stuff because I trained in yoga. So yoga means union. So it's all about bringing the body, the mind, and the spirit together. And yogi, yeah, these are just what the West calls, yogini calls the female yogas, practitioners, and yogi the males. Asana just means the physical postures. So in the West, that's what we mostly hear of and know. When we say yoga, we think of physical exercises. But in fact, there's 8 limbs, so there's 8 different parts of yoga. And it comes from India and started at least 2,000 years ago. It was brought over to the West in the 70s. So the 8 limbs of yoga, which we don't use all of these in baby yoga. So the yamas is one of them. So it's kind of like lessons to live by. So if you ever train as a yoga teacher, you'll look at the yamas. The niyamas, this is the self-discipline and spiritual observances. It talks about different breathing exercises and different dietary restrictions and different ways of being in the world. We don't really bring that into baby yoga. Asanas, that's what we focus on, and pranayama, breathing, we also focus on that. So we look at mostly those 2 limbs, breathing and physical postures when we talk about baby yoga. Pratyahara is withdrawal of the senses. So sometimes I'll teach a class where everyone wears blindfolds, but not in baby yoga. Just to block out a sense that heightens the other senses. And dharana is when you concentrate. So you know those meditations where you're just focusing on a flame. We use that a little bit to help with balance. So you can say to the parents, look at a spot on the wall, concentrate on that, helps you focus in on the body. Dhyana, meditation. Sometimes we bring that in with mindfulness, I guess. I'll sometimes get the mums to focus on gratitude and just to focus on love for their baby. So that's a little bit of meditation. Samadhi, enlightenment, we don't really focus on that. We're all finding our own path to enlightenment. So the other interesting thing, do you know about the chakras?
I've heard about them. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of out there in mainstream these days. So chakras is basically referring to wheels of energy along the spine that then relate to whole parts of the body. So there's different colors associated with the wheels of energy. Beginning at the bottom, there's the base chakra or Muladhara, or root chakra, which is red. Then you move up to the orange wheel, sacral. and then yellow around the belly button, the solar plexus, manipura, and then the heart chakra is seen as green, and then throat chakra, blue, and then coming up to this space between your eyebrows, that's known as the brow chakra, and then crown. So we don't really talk about that in baby yoga, but it's just good to know when you're looking at the history of yoga. If you've got a yoga teacher in your class as a mum, you know, they'll be trained in all of this. So if you start talking about it without training, they'll be like, what? But it's just good to know. And now science is showing that these different energy wheels and places along the spine do have like meridians and nerves corresponding to the different areas of the body. Yeah. Hey, 5 principles of yoga we're interested in are relaxation, exercise, breathing. You can introduce some nutrition and diet just at a basic level, getting mums to think about, did you eat today? What did you eat? If you serve snacks, you might want to serve non-caffeinated drinks. At least have an option for herbal drinks in your baby yoga classes, and have some healthy snacks just to bring that awareness of looking after the body. And positive thinking and meditation. Bring that into the class, like I said, just with focusing on gratitude and positive self-esteem. Have you heard of different types of yoga? Sorry.
No, not really.
Bikram, it's not popular over there. Hot yoga.
No.
Yeah, so Hatha is a yoga that I'm trained in and is what we bring baby yoga from. So this is the standalone poses. It's not the fast poses to music that you see on YouTube. It's not the standing on your head, although there are some Hatha poses like that. We don't bring them in. It's not power yoga, and we don't use any blocks or straps. Sometimes you can bring cushions in to support a mother when she's lying on her back, but we don't bring in any of the crazy poses or moves, and we don't focus on the Kundalini, which is the spiritual yoga, or the hot yoga. So Hatha yoga, if anyone asks you, is what it's based upon. The benefits are we get tummy time. There's a lot of developmental play. This is an exercise where they're rolling the baby down their legs, which the babies love when they're old enough. Otherwise, they're terrified when they're little. You don't do that one until after 4 months. And baby yoga uses the touch, the stretch, the movement, and music. And it's all based on traditional Indian yoga practice. So with the mother, you're bringing awareness to her breath the whole time and her body. So when she's doing that, rolling the baby down the legs, you remind the mother to breathe. And when the baby gets all the way to the toes, to stretch and breathe out. So just reminding mothers about their body during the class and their breathing. If they're totally focused on the baby, don't worry, because that's still the most important thing. The main difference between baby massage and baby yoga is we're working on developing all the different senses, not just the touch. How are we going for time? We'll have a break in a minute. Yeah. Have you seen this handout, this
Not yet,
picture
no.
before? This is really good if you're ever wanting to explain, like you're invited to do a talk somewhere, or you want to write a blog post. It helps to break up the benefits into these 4. So if you kind of put this somewhere where you can refer to it, and someone says, well, why is it good? Well, then you can go, okay, the first one is relief. It relieves, colic, teething, congestion, dry skin. Then the second one, do you want to read that one? Can you read it?
Yeah, relaxation. It releases relaxation hormones.
Yeah.
Which activate the relaxation responses.
Mm-hmm. And then the third one.
Stimulation.
Yeah.
Baby massage boosts circulation to the tissues of the body and stimulates all the body systems.
Yeah. And then the fourth one is bonding. So that's with touch and releasing oxytocin and the eye contact. And the singing develops the bonding through voice and the smell. That's why we don't put any scent in the oils when we use them.
Yeah.
So that's a really just a nice handy way to explain it to people, because there's so much information. It just helps kind of pull it together. And if I am asked to like speak on a podcast or a blog, I always remember relief, relaxation, stimulation, and bonding. And it falls like baby yoga falls into stimulation a lot more, but it also has the other components. Yeah. Okay. It's a lovely quote from Deborah Jackson. A baby is a question mark and his mother the answer he seeks. Sensitive to every encounter, the newborn experiences life through the soft filter of mother's embrace, her milk and her lullabies. It's nice, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, so it's all about encouraging communication and developing play. Like a lot of parents don't realize that play is actually learning. It's not just a waste of time. So if you can teach them now when the babies are young to play and have fun, and then let them know how important this is, they'll continue to do that. Not think the baby has to be reading by one. It's a lot of pressure on developing all the academic stuff and ignoring the needs for play. So before we have a little break, I'll talk about attachment theory. This can be quite heavy, so we'll just go through it quickly and you can always read more later. So, did you learn about this with the Kanga attachment theory?
Little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Little bit.
So according to attachment theory, our first relationship with our carer is like forms a lifelong template and shapes how we then respond as we go through life. So if you have that secure attachment with your main caregiver, your mother, your father, whoever you're looking after, then you're more likely to feel independent and secure when you go through life. So babies that have secure attachments, they'll actually cry when mum leaves them because they're attached to their mother. And this isn't a bad sign, it's a good sign. We're more worried about the babies that don't cry when mum walks away because maybe they're not securely attached. Of course, there's different levels where babies are more comfortable. Yeah, so it's looking at this theory and bonding and encouraging that strong, healthy attachment between the parents and the baby. There's a lot of material on the first 1001 days in infant mental health. So the first 1001 days of a baby's life, if you look up anything around that, there's lots of information on the website. They've done studies showing how important this attachment is for babies in their adult life. So it actually affects the jobs they get, how successful they are in life, how stable their relationships are later on. It affects it's like sets them up for life basically. And the flip side of it is really neglected children. Worst case scenario, don't develop properly, and there's been some studies where they've actually died from lack of touch in orphanages. They've just failed to thrive. And then you get the children that have been moved around from pillar to post and not given any stable care and abused, go on to become like the murderers and the criminals. Like there's been studies linking all of this. Don't tell a parent that the child's going to be I had a teacher tell me my son was going to be a psychopath when he was 4. Can you believe it? Yeah, I know, just because he was a little 4-year-old with extra needs and still developing his empathy. I think he kicked someone in a playground because he thought they were an alien. But this is all developing, and it's how the parents
Yeah.
respond and how securely attached. Like, he is now the most loving, beautiful person. But perhaps a lot of children don't end up, if they don't get that secure attachment, being able to develop that empathy. Parts of the brains, I might show it here, can actually be smaller and not grow even in size if they're not given the right love and attention and touch. So we're helping to boost the parents' confidence and self-esteem to provide that for the children, the babies. So always have a classroom that's full of support and a good vibe. And always empowering and boosting the mums to feel like they know what they're doing. Like, I always put a lot of, you know what your baby needs best. You can tell when they need a break. You don't go, your baby looks really tired, I think you should stop. Just always prompting them to read the cues themselves, so they're building their confidence that they can provide that loving, secure place. Okay, so I'm just going to do this, and then we'll have a little stretch ourselves. So this is something I teach a lot, breathing, and also the heart breath. So do you want to try it? And then we'll go have a stretch and come back. So you just sit so that your feet are comfortable on the ground and your bottom's comfortable in the chair. Check where your shoulders are. You might want to just roll them away from the ears. Breathe in, let the belly relax. You don't need to hold it in. How many mums walk around sucking that in? Take another breath in, relax the belly completely. And if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes or just look down, and then put one hand or two hands on your heart just to help you focus on the heart. And then imagine you're breathing in and out of your actual heart. So as you breathe in, the chest and the belly moves away from your spine. And as you breathe out, everything relaxes. So just take another 3 breaths in and out of the heart. So you might breathe in through the mouth or the nose. The nose is good. And then breathe out through the mouth. Take another nice breath, nice slow breath in through the nose and out through the nose or the mouth. And then you can let the hands drop down to your knees, but continue to focus on the heart. And while you're breathing in and out of your heart, think of something you feel really grateful for. So it could be a person or a memory of a place, but something that you really can start to feel that thankfulness, appreciation, gratitude. Keep breathing in and out of the heart. Really try to bring the memory of whatever you're feeling grateful about into your mind so that you can actually feel it as if you're back there with that person or in that event or in that place. And just notice any sensation in your body. Maybe you feel a warmth or some feeling around your chest, throat. And just take 3 more breaths, focusing on that gratitude. And then let that visualization go, wriggle the fingers and blink the eyes open. So how did that feel?
It was very relaxing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
actually, when they've studied this in labs and put, monitors on people, they've shown that once they start to focus on that feeling of gratitude and putting their concentration on their heart, it slowed the heart rate and also slowed down the brain waves and brought them into some kind of harmony,
Mm.
which
That was probably
is
the
what
most relaxed I've felt in a long time.
really. There you go. Now you've got a life hack. You can just do that for 5 minutes.
Give me
every
5
day.
minutes. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's so simple, but sometimes I just do this in the class with the mums because I don't have a lot of time. And if they've come in and their mind's like thinking of everything they're doing wrong, it just focuses on more positive thoughts and feelings.
It's like everything that I've got rushing through my mind was just like it sort of felt like it was just gone. It was amazing.
Perfect. That's exactly what's meant to happen. Not everyone can do that. A lot of people have what's called the monkey mind, and their mind can't close down the craziness or the thoughts. We all have it. So this is such a powerful skill, just to be able to concentrate here and calm the mind. And it actually floods the body with I think it's 1,200 different neurochemicals. Isn't that amazing? Just that exercise.
Amazing.
And it actually affects your aging. So, it's like a little facelift, age disappearance act. It affects
I need to do it more often.
Yeah. Yeah. So go and have a little drink, stretch, whatever. I'm going to grab some water and then we'll come back.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
See you in 5 minutes.